Hi guys, this is Tanya Ahina with Hawaii Homes by Tanya in Century 21, iProperties Hawaii, and I am here with Julie Bratton, and she is from Old Republic Exchange. So she's going to be talking a little more about 1031 exchanges, kind of taking a deeper dive into that. But before that, Julie, tell us about you, your background, how you got started in this industry.
I started in this industry in 1994. I started when I was 12, and I was selling real estate. So I sold real estate for quite a few years, and the market was just okay when I was doing it. So I ended up being an assistant to some of the top brokers at one of the brokerage firms. So I got a lot of experience doing that. And then Old Republic Title kind of scooped me up around 1998, I guess. And I started doing their transaction coordinator program for them for a while. And then exchange came about around 2001. And so I've been doing exchanges for 19 years now. This month is 19 years. I can't believe it. So selling real estate ahead of time first, it was a great segue into this business because, I kind of know what everybody wants, but more importantly, why they need it. So it's good.
What is a 1031 exchange? What is it that?
A 1031 exchange is a way to defer paying your capital gains tax, and it's only for investment properties. So you sell investment property and you don't want to pay capital gains, you have to do an exchange and buy another piece of investment property within a specific period of time. And the benefit of that obviously is to defer paying the capital gains tax, but you can also diversify and leverage your real estate portfolio. Like you can sell one and buy five. You can sell five and buy two if you wanted to, but your goal is to move it around so you always get better properties, hopefully better income producing properties. And you can use it as an estate planning tool as well. So it's got a lot of benefits, but I think the number one benefit that people see it first and foremost is to defer paying the capital gains tax. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It comes with
working
at home. Yeah, it comes with this COVID environment of working at home.
Yeah. I locked up the dog.
Okay. I had the kids lock up the dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of back it up. So, so from real estate to 1031 exchanges, right? So why? I mean, 19 years, that's a long time.
I love helping people. I mean, real estate agents get, so much joy out of helping people, then they see them find their first homes or really move these families into better properties. I mean, it's very rewarding. And for me with exchange, it's also very rewarding. I mean, they're saving a boatload of money, right? And I help them do that. They're only unhappy if it doesn't work out. And if that hardly ever happens, I mean, there's, as long as you buy the properties within a specific period of time, that's, they're extremely happy. Nobody wants to pay the government.
Right. Okay. So now if you're talking to a newbie who never heard of a 1031 exchange, explain to that person why they should even care. Maybe they don't even have investment properties, but should this information be valuable to them?
Well, after I think you buy your first home and that you live in, that's obviously the first and probably the biggest step that you have. But once you start maybe developing some equity and you get the itch to buy investment property, it gets a little bit addictive. You want to buy investment property and get monthly income every month. You buy a house, you get $3,000 worth of income every month or whatever it is. It's great. If you're a newbie and you don't have any investment property now, it's obviously something to look into as you build wealth.
Yeah, I think I heard about 1031 exchanges about, I think it was in 2007 when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki, started following him because I grew up in a property investing family.
Yeah, so did
grandparents, I. Yeah, grandparents, parents, aunties, uncles, right? And even they didn't even realize what a 1031 exchange was, right? So
yeah, so a lot of people think that, okay, let me buy a piece of property, fix it up and sell it, and then I'll make, a bunch of money. I mean, people do that all the time and that's great, but the gain that they get from that fix up is taxable.
Yeah.
So flippers who buy
Yeah.
properties, fix them up and sell them, they don't necessarily qualify for an exchange because they're flipping properties.
Right.
And the IRS says you have to hold them for investment or for
So-
productive use in a business or trade. So you should rent it out. You should rent it out for at least a year. There's no rule or law on how long you have to rent it out, but the longer you rent it out or hold it for investment, the better your story. And then you can shelter that gain or defer paying that gain if you keep moving on and buying more investment properties. But if you buy a property, fix it up and sell it really quickly, you're going to pay taxes on that gain.
Okay, so there's no stipulation on how long you have to hold it. As long as you do hold it for some time, it kind of shows as it was bought for investment purposes because you're renting it out.
Yeah, the only reason why I say at least a year is because you can at least document a year worth of income on your tax returns. I mean, how's the IRS going to argue that? But really, you can talk to 10 people and get 10 different answers. It's all about your intent to hold. So really, the longer you hold it, the better your story. So I get that question all the time. That's the $1 million question. And unfortunately, there's no black and white answer.
Yeah, and I see the value in 1031 exchanges. Are there any other value to it other than the fact that you can defer the tax payments? And defer doesn't mean it's written off forever. It just means it's postponed.
It's a deferral of tax, not a get away from paying tax forever. So the only way to really get away from it is maybe eventually buy a piece of property that you'll eventually want to live in. And you can move into it and make in your personal residence exemption get your personal residence exemption, but you don't get the whole thing. So some people exchange. Maybe they exchange into something they eventually want to live in. Fine. And then they go to sell it. They're going to pay some tax. There's a formula of how long you rented it and how long you've owned it. And then you can see how much of your personal residence exemption you can get, and you'll pay taxes on the difference. So that's a specific formula. Or you pass away and your kids inherit it at a step up in basis, which is good. So let's say I did an exchange like 5 years ago and I sold something for $200,000, and then I sold it for $200,000, and then I bought something for $400,000, blah, like go on and on and on. Like today I'm selling something and it's worth $2 million. If I pass away, my kid would get it at $2 million. He doesn't inherit my capital gain burden.
Really?
He just gets property for $2 million. Now, if he holds on to it for another couple of years and now it's worth, more, then he has to pay taxes on the gain that he acquired during his term of ownership. But let's say I was, 90 years old and I decided I'm going to give my property to my kid now because I'm too old and I can't deal with it and I don't want to deal with it. If I just give it to her now, I'm not going to have to worry. So if I gave it to my son now, so I didn't have to worry anymore because I'm old or whatever my situation is, he would inherit my capital gain burden.
Wow, from the time that you purchased it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when he gets the property, he doesn't get a step up in basis. So if I bought it at 200 and now it's worth 1.2, he's responsible for all that gain. So the only way somebody gets a step up in basis is if they inherit the property. That's my understanding.
Step up in
So
basis.
a lot of people use it as an estate planning tool.
Yeah, definitely. I just interviewed an estate planner. So yeah, that whole thing is an interesting topic as far as how to plan your estate going forward and all of that. But
so I had a lady when she sold a commercial property and she thought she could only buy another commercial property. And I asked her how many kids she had, and she said 5. I go, well, why don't you buy that commercial property and buy 5 condos or single family homes, and then when you pass away, your kids will inherit it at a step up in basis. Each one will get one, and you'll be done with it. And she had no idea she could do that. And I said, talk to your CPA and see if it's in your best interest to do that. Anyway, she ended up doing it, so I guess it was.
So when someone wants to do a 1031 exchange, okay, they check with the CPA. Who are the team players in all of that?
See, I can't give tax advice. So I'm the qualified intermediary. I'm the 1031 girl or whatever you want to call me. And I can't give tax advice. I can make sure from what you're telling me that, you're following all of the rules. You're telling me it's investment property. You're buying something equal to or greater than. You're doing all the right steps. But only your CPA or tax advisor will really know what your situation is, your financial situation is in its entirety. So I always recommend to them to talk to their accountants before they sell a property, not just after. Right. I can't tell you what my my calls sound like around April. What did my client do last year?
Oh,
You know, so it's good to talk to your accountant first anyway, just to say, hey, I'm thinking about selling this. Do you have any suggestions for me? I'm going to do an exchange or whatever. Because you never know with the new tax rules if there's something in their
right,
back pocket that can help you differently.
right.
And that I wouldn't know. When they
So,
come to me, they're coming to me with like, this is the property I want to sell. I don't know the bigger picture.
okay, so where does a regular, you know, a real estate agent come into play, and then where do you come into play? Are you doing like any kind of real estate?
I don't do any real estate, but once a client has an accepted offer on a sale,
Yeah,
that's when I really need to know about it. But I always talk to clients ahead of time because maybe they have a story or a situation they want to run by me, and I can tell them whether they, you know, if they could do an exchange or not. Sometimes people have wild stories that I'm like, no, 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 if you get audited, it's not going to work. So I can get involved at any time, but for sure, once you get an accepted offer on the property that they're selling, I should start getting involved. Because exchange needs to be set up before the escrow closes. So no transaction should close without an exchange being set up ahead of time if they're going to do one.
So if you're talking to,
You can't call me after it closes and say, oh, you know, I heard about an exchange last week. Is it too late? I already closed.
yeah,
And the answer would be yes. I get those calls. You'd be surprised.
yeah, I imagine.
So
So,
when you're taking a listing, if an agent's taking a listing, they should be asking the clients ahead of time. If they know that they're going to be listing an investment property, have you considered doing a 1031 exchange?
right. And if the real estate, so if you're talking to a real estate agent, right, and the agent says, hey, yeah, I have someone who wants to do a 1031 exchange, that real estate agent should then be working
Then they should
pretty
call me.
closely with you. I mean, they should already be contacting you, say, hey, I got a client wanting to do 1031, because that process date is so key, right? Because of the deadlines.
And then I'll give them my information and what I need to get started. And that's when the questions start rolling in.
So kind of give us an idea what those time frames look like that people got to be aware of.
You sell your relinquished property, we call it the relinquished property when you sell it. Let's say you go through escrow and it closes today. That's when the clock starts ticking. You have 45 days from that date to identify in writing what you're going to buy, and 180 days to close on it. So the 45 days is included in the 180. You don't get 45 and then a fresh 180, and every day counts. Okay, so yeah, and there's no extensions at all. Good market conditions, bad market conditions, I don't like it anymore.
Wow.
So the 45 days is probably the most stressful part of the exchange, although they gave an extension for the, you know, COVID crisis. But that only affects a certain group of people who can take advantage of that. Yeah. So, but the general rule is 45 days to identify and 180 days to close. So when you identify property, you don't have to have an accepted contract when you identify, but you have to purchase something that you put on your list. So you can change your mind as much as you want, change up your list as much as you want, but on the 45th day, I need the final list of what you think you're going to buy.
Oh, okay. And then you need to make a selection by when? A final selection.
Close on one of those properties in 180 days.
So that's 6 months.
Yeah.
And people, I mean, how's the success rate in all of this?
It's really, really good. You know, the only time people really get caught up is if they're looking for the perfect property. Okay. And I always say, well, you know, what's a perfect property? It's an investment property. Maybe you shouldn't be so emotional about an investment property. I mean, it's not like you're going to live there. I mean, I understand if you're a little bit more sensitive to the property, finding the perfect property, if you eventually want to move there. But it's just an exchange. It's just an investment property. And I would never tell anybody to buy a piece of junk. But if they had to make a lateral move just to defer paying the capital gains tax, I mean, try to find your perfect property. But if you don't, you can hold on to that property that you just did an exchange with for a year or so. And if you still don't like it, sell it and do an exchange into something you really want.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't like toss my hands up and say, I can't find anything. I'll just pay taxes.
Yeah.
A lot of people give up. Well, not a lot of people. Some people give up on the exchange and just pay taxes because of the 45-day stress factor. So I try to talk them off the ledge a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, don't buy a piece of junk, but let's just defer the tax.
Okay. So what are, like, do people have to pay extra for this kind of service?
Yes, but it's not that much. Compared to what they're going to pay in taxes, So our fee is that's what you're asking, my fee, is $900 when you sell the relinquished property and $375 when you purchase the replacement property. So the client pays as they go.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, if they don't find a replacement property, obviously then we don't charge them for that portion of it. And we take the fee out of the proceeds so they don't have to come out of pocket.
Oh, okay. So that's not a big deal. It's actually a very good investment because you want that safety net that you're doing everything right. Because could people do this without your services, and do they do it?
They can't. The IRS doesn't allow that. You can only do it without our services if it's a true swap of properties. Like you own a property for $500,000, I own a property for $500,000. You don't have a mortgage to pay off, I don't have a mortgage to pay off. We're just, no money is changing hands, and we're just giving each other's property. That's the only time you would not use a qualified intermediary.
Okay.
But it's interesting. It's an unregulated field. Anybody can have a business card printed up and say they're a qualified intermediary. So you really want to make sure the financial security, the strength, everything is in place. Because people will say whatever they want to get the business, and you don't want to be handing over hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to some guy who says that he's, you know, a national company when really he works out of his garage.
But wouldn't
anything they want.
But wouldn't the person's real estate agent be the one that would kind of confirm who to work with? I mean,
I think that you guys would suggest who to work with, yes. But, you know, every once in a while you're going to have a client say, oh, yeah, I found somebody in, you know, Timbuktu that will do it for, you know, $200. I'm going to use him. Okay, well, those guys are those kind of guys. Like in this environment, you know, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where the money is, so.
Okay, so talk to us about, we probably kind of covered it, but just in a nutshell, what are some of the problems or challenges with 1031 exchanges?
The biggest, most stressful part of the exchange is the 45 days. So that's why I always tell people when you list the property, the day you list it, start shopping around. Because think about it, you have the listing period, then you have the escrow period, and when escrow closes, that's when your clock really starts ticking. So take this pre-time to go shopping, weed through the areas, the properties, the states, the projects that you don't like. So when you're in your 45 days, you've really narrowed it down, maybe even have an accepted contract of what you're going to buy. So use that time wisely. I mean, some people are just going to work under pressure because that's just the way they are.
Right, right.
But, you know, try to use that time wisely, and then hopefully you won't get stuck. Another problem sometimes happens when people, let's say you own a property, maybe you and 4 siblings, so there's 5 of you, and the trust owns the property, but you 5 want to go your separate ways. You can't go your separate ways. The trust owns the property, not the 5 of you. So the trust has to do an exchange. So sometimes that is problematic. So if clients own property in an entity, a multi-member entity, like a trust sometimes, or a multi-member LLC or a corporation or a partnership, that entity owns the property, not the members. You can't move around independently as you want when you want to, tax-free. So they should get some tax advice on to get some timing on how to dissolve the entity. So when they are ready to sell, they can go their separate ways. You know, the trust I kind of feel bad for, you know, they've probably inherited the trust from the parents. They're doing the best they can. They got 5 kids. But when people get into other entities like multi-member LLCs, corporations, partnerships, they're so excited to do it. But they don't really talk about the exit strategy. They can't move around independently as they want to. So that's it's kind of a common problem.
Kind of covered this, but kind of just recap on what are some solutions, preventative steps where you get involved, and how do you help make this like a smooth transaction?
The sooner I know that a client's going to do an exchange, or they're thinking about doing an exchange or wanting to do an exchange, I really like to talk to them ahead of time, just so they have some comfort. It gets really, I feel like a real estate transaction just in general these days can get really stressful just like that.
Yeah.
So at least I can give them some calm about the exchange. The exchange is actually really easy from a paperwork standpoint. They just got to follow the timing, but you guys got to take them shopping.
Yeah.
You know, they got to, you know, play in the rules. So that maybe talk to them ahead of time. And, you know, for them, they should talk to their accountants, their CPAs, to make sure that, you know, they're doing the right thing. Again, I can't give them tax advice. So a lot of people come to me with certain scenarios, and sometimes I'll have to say, well, it's not illegal to try it. If you don't get audited, it works. If you get audited, this is going to be your problem, but you can decide whether or not you want to take the risk those are the kinds of conversations I like to have with people up front so they can talk to their CPA. And if the CPA says, go for it, then, you know, that's good. It's not like setting up an exchange one day before closing and then I have a zillion questions for them and then they can't find their CPA because, you know, it's April 14th or something. So it's good to get some of that stuff out of the way.
So what
Otherwise,
I'm
it's just paperwork.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is for an investor or someone who holds income property, as soon as they're even thinking of doing a 1031 or even thinking of selling this income property, they should already be maybe giving you a phone call, giving their agent a phone call, and connecting with you early on, even before they start looking, maybe
Yeah,
even before they even touch bases with a real estate agent.
yeah.
They
The
connect
sooner
with
the
you.
better. You know,
And
they
then
can call and say, hey, I'm thinking about selling. I'm not sure if I should do an exchange. This is my story. And I'll be like, yeah, when you're ready, call me. Or this is your problem and this is your problem and you should solve it now. Or you know, wait a few
yeah.
more months before you sell. So, you know, there's no question, you know, those kinds of things.
Yeah, so you're willing to talk with someone even before they've even seen a real estate agent.
Oh
You're
yeah,
willing to sit down and talk.
I get those calls all the time.
Oh, that's so wonderful. That is
Yeah,
so
that's what
wonderful.
I love about my job. I build lots of relationships with people, and it's nice to have the conversation and the banter back and forth. And I can give them the questions that they need to ask their CPA. You know, I can help them. I can talk to their CPA with them if they want. You know, CPAs do it taxes every day, but they don't do exchanges every day, and a lot of times they're not up on all the rules. They can call me. I can give them lots of information. I can give them all the information probably they need, except for their own personal tax returns, to help the client figure out whether or not an exchange is good for them.
Wow, that's valuable. Some people think agents are the starting point. They are in a way, but there are some initial research and information you can be doing on your own with professional, other professionals, your CPA, people like
Oh yeah,
you.
it's like you're not the termite inspector.
Yeah, no.
You know, I'm not the lender. Like they got to go. Sometimes they have to go to those specialties. But you know what? For you guys, real estate agents, you know, identify the business and identify the questions early on, and you should know what you can and cannot answer, or what you shouldn't be answering, and
Yeah.
what you should be answering. So I know when people start asking me tax questions. Like sometimes people ask me the same question 5 different ways just to get a better answer at me. I'm on to you. I would do it too. I mean, sometimes if you do hear a question a different way, you might get a different answer. So, you know, it's just human nature that happens, but everybody knows where their lane is, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, this was a great interview. I'm so glad. I mean, now I have a new contact. Yay! I might be calling you for some
Anytime.
advice here on personal stuff, but yeah, because I
Yeah,
know of, huh?
anytime.
I think there are a lot of families in Hawaii that have these kind of, like you said, trust issues and owning multiple properties because of, let's say they've inherited it,
They were so focused on let the kids get it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not what the kids do with it after they get it, or
Yeah.
how can they distribute. I mean, that is sometimes problematic when
Yeah.
selling investment properties.
Yeah.
You know, like I had a similar situation in my family. Thank God all of us love each other and we're fine. But you know, that's not always the case.
What if you come,
You know,
have you,
lots of people have different lives, different needs,
yeah.
and you know, you would not be able to know ahead of time, predict.
Now, what if there is a family that, they're having issues, they have different ideas about what they should do with these properties they've inherited that are now in a trust, and, how would you work with a family like that?
I would talk them through it. You know, who's the decision maker? You know, that's a question. Usually when I open up an exchange, I have to see the entity doc. So I'll look at the trust and see really who's the decision maker. It's not often, sometimes all 5 people have to sign, sometimes only 1 person has to sign. And sometimes they have to just go talk to the trust attorney and see what's the best. But you know, you have people that don't like each other anymore. You have people that have passed away. You've had people, you know, maybe somebody's sick and needs money, somebody's homeless. I mean, there's so many situations that could be in one family.
Right.
That they need, they're not really necessarily mad at each other, but they can't come to a solution because they have different needs right now. So
Yeah.
that, It happens. Y'all probably end up sending them back to their trust attorney to hash that out.
Yeah.
I can't get involved. I can only throw up the flags of what I see.
Have anything more you want feel to add to that, or?
No, just my number's on the bottom of the screen. You can call anytime or shoot me an email, and I'm happy to answer. I have a great staff too. If for some reason I'm not there, you can always ask them a question too, or you can just say, I want to talk to Julie. That's fine.
Okay. Well, awesome. And then I'm going to also provide a recording of this and also your contact information for people who watch this. Any final thoughts during this COVID time?
I think everybody is, this is so cliche to say it, but everybody is in the same boat. So everybody has a pretty calm level understanding of what's going on real estate wise. People are waiting to see on the sidelines, and just continue that calm. I think we're going to have a really good real estate market here in Hawaii once the fog lifts, for lack of a better expression. So, be patient, and I think everyone will do good. I think it will be good for sellers and good for buyers. And don't rush. Before we were locked down, everybody's in such a hurry. Hurry. And there's a lot of mistakes. I see a lot of mistakes. I mean, I see so many contracts a month. It's crazy how many little mistakes that are made. And I keep telling people, if you just take 5 more minutes, you can, eliminate some of these really possibly costly mistakes. And now that we're so slowed down, everybody's so in a hurry to list or so in a hurry to sell, you're almost making the same mistakes because you're so anxious to get it done. So just, pay attention to the details. Take a deep breath.
Breathe.
I mean, really, it really helps not get into any funky situations that you hadn't thought of.
Julie, it was awesome having you here with me, and thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the information. It's been really great.
Okay. Talk to you guys soon. Let me know if you need anything.
Okay, will do.
Bye.
Bye.